The new soccer season is right around the corner and you're probably just trying to figure out whether you should be going for a tryout for a team or just play for your local club. You're also probably wondering what position suits you the best. So in this video, that's exactly what I'm gonna be talking about. I'm gonna try to help you out what position you should be playing for the upcoming season. I get asked this a lot in the comments. You're saying, okay, I'm not fast, but should I be a winger or should I be center mid? Or I'm not technically really good, but I'm very strong physically. So that's exactly what we're gonna be talking about today, where I'm gonna be telling you what the coach is looking for specific positions when it comes to choosing the players for their team. Because every coach wants something different from their players, from each position. But there are certain things that you must have to actually fulfill the coach's expectation. And this is exactly what we're gonna be talking about in this video, where I'm gonna be breaking it down from position to position. First of all, I really would recommend you to just grab a piece of paper and write down the things that you're good at. Go and talk to your friends that you play with or the coaches that you've been playing with for a while and ask them about their opinion on your playing style. Whether you're a fast player or you're physically strong or you're technically really good, you have excellent vision, and just discuss this kind of stuff with your coaches, with your friends that you've been playing with for a while. Because you might think very highly of yourself and you might think that you are very fast, but when it comes to watching a player from outside, that might not be the case. You might need to figure this out by talking to other players and getting an outside opinion on the way that you play. If you're watching this video, you're probably just starting to play football, or you have been playing football but you were told by your coaches or by your friends that you are not very good at that position. You might want to change the position that you're playing, which is okay. Trust me, I started playing as a winger, then I played attacking midfielder most of my life. I converted into striker, then I went back to winger, then I started to play defensive midfielder, which is completely okay. Because the teams that you're gonna be going, players' style will change, the coach's style will also change. So you're gonna need to adapt and you're gonna need to figure out what you're really good at so your coaches can help you out and your teammates can help you out for you to choose the best suitable position for your style. And if you guys know my channel, I always answer the comments. So you can always comment below this video and I will be telling you my opinion based on your abilities that you list, and then we can discuss from there right in the comments. That's very important. You need to ask multiple coaches, multiple people around you that what suits you the best and what position you need to be playing to show your full potential. Let's start all the way from the back line, where you have a decent height. You're between 5'10 and 6'2. You're really good at headers, winning the tackles and not scared of getting into those challenges. You also have great communication skills. You are probably well suited to be a center back. As I said in my other center back videos, when it comes to becoming a successful center back, your leadership abilities, I think, comes first. You have to be a great leader. Even though if you are not a captain in your team, you have to be able to communicate very clearly with your goalkeepers, with your central midfielders, or with your other center back partner. Because you will need to do that. In the back line, when you're playing a center back, you'll need to communicate very clearly and very good with your teammates to bring your fullbacks in, to bring your center midfielders in. If you have these abilities where you're physically strong, you have good leadership abilities, and you're good at making quick decisions when you have the ball and good at making decent tackles, and you can win most of the headers, now you might be a good candidate to play center back position. Now we get to our fullbacks. So fullbacks is a little different because you can technically be a winger, you can also be a fullback, or you can be a wingback. But what does the coaches look for when it comes to a proper fullback or proper winger? This is where it gets a little bit complicated, because fullback position, you would have to make those runs up and down the field. I tried playing fullback a few times. Fullback position requires a lot of cardio. So you'll have to have a great cardio to be able to play the fullback position. Then you'll have to have decent speed, because you'll be running up and down the field, supporting your winger, supporting your team's attacks, because your wingers sometimes will be cutting in, which opens up a space for you to overlap. So you need to be able to see it from the back line when you're playing fullback, that when is a good time to actually make those runs in behind your winger to occupy that space. That's the difference between a winger and a fullback in my opinion, because a fullback has to have incredible positional knowledge. Yes, every position you have to have very good positional knowledge, but fullback, you'll need to know exactly when to overlap, you'll need to know exactly when to hold, or if the attack is coming to you from your side, you'll have to know exactly when to step in, or if the attack is coming from the other side, you'll have to know exactly when to tuck in. These are the basic knowledge that you have to be a great fullback. And obviously, the most of the opposition's attacks starts from the wide side. And this is exactly why you're tackling, you're jockeying, you'll have to know when to step up and you'll have to know when to step back at the right times. Technically, you don't have to be excellent, but you have to have the basics right, such as your first touch, your dribbling abilities, your basic running with the ball, your passing, and sometimes crossing inside the 18 and providing for your strikers. And those are the basic attributes the coach is looking for in a good fullback. So if you want to be a fullback or a winger, you need to make this decision. Are you technically good enough to be high up, to be a winger, or maybe you're just not there? You can hold back and play the fullback position, or be a wingback. So basically, if you are fast, if you have good tackling abilities, and if you know your position incredibly well, when to step, when to hold back, you also have the basic crossing and passing abilities, but you're not as technical as the winger should be, then you might be a better candidate to play the fullback position. Then we go to the winger position. If you want to be a successful winger, you need to know exactly when to take risks, when to play simple, when to make wide runs, when to make inverted runs. This is what makes a good winger. You have to have the speed, obviously. You also need to be incredible when it comes to knowing your position. Obviously, you have to have great passing skills, you have to have really good dribbling abilities, and being able to understand your fullback at the same time as making those proper inverted runs or leave space for your center midfielders to come out wide. And this is one of the first things the coaches want from their wingers. Also, when it comes to defending as a winger, you'll have to know when to drop back. Because now, if your fullback is tucking in, if the attack is progressing from the opposite side, you'll need to come back to cover that space that your fullback left open. Maybe your center mid would be dropping and then you'd be shifting inside to be able to cover the space that your center mid's left open. And if you want to play as a winger for a team, these are the stuff that you need to know. If you don't know these stuff, yes, you might learn, but to start with, you might want to play maybe fullback position or other position that might suit you the better. Now we get to the central areas. If you want to play central midfielder position, your playing under pressure ability has to be incredible. Your first touch has to be incredible. You have to be shoulder checking at all times. You have to have great vision and very quick decision making ability. You don't have to have incredible speed. You don't have to have incredible defending abilities. But what makes a great central midfielder, especially when it's defending, to know where to be, exactly when to be. Because this all means a game IQ. You don't have to be the greatest defender, but you have to know where to be, which is a game IQ. Then the passing abilities. Obviously, one of the most important job to a central midfielder positions, your creativity. You have to create the game. If you notice, the center backs or fullbacks or wingers, they're not as good when it comes to creating a game as the central midfielder. So if you want to be a successful central midfielder, your creativity has to be on point. If you're a slow player, you're technically excellent, your vision is great, you have great game IQ, then it might be better for you to play central midfielder position. If you don't have as much game IQ, if you don't have as much vision, but you're defensively better, but your ball skills really good and passing ability is really good, you can be a central defensive midfielder. And I think this is one of the most important things that separates a central midfielder and a defensive midfielder. And this defensive midfielder position requires patience as well, because you'll have to hold back. You'll have to occupy that space, because a central midfielder will sometimes support high up, almost as high as your attacking midfielder or your striker. Most of the time, the defensive midfielder will stay And that's the space that the defensive midfielder occupies, where your central midfielder is left open. Then we get to the attacking midfielder. Your defensive skills doesn't have to be excellent. But again, just like other two positions like the central midfielder or defensive midfielder, you'll have to know where to be at the right time, because you're gonna need to cover the spaces, cover the gaps. That's your job as an attacking midfielder. Nobody's really expecting you to win the ball. If you win it, that's fine. But if you can't win it, you have to be closing the perfect gaps where your striker or your winger left open so the ball doesn't go through those channels. That's one of the most important things to become a successful attacking midfielder when it comes to defending. And when it comes to attacking and creativity, yes, you'll have to have excellent creativity. Your vision has to be excellent. Your game IQ has to be excellent. And you being able to find those gaps to receive the ball has to be on point. That's what separates a defensive midfielder, a central midfielder, where you're more free as an attacking midfielder. So you're gonna have to travel. You're gonna have to go and find those gaps where your team can find you without putting you under so much pressure, where you're gonna have to find those gaps. Otherwise, you're not gonna be a successful attacking midfielder, because if you receive the ball under pressure, now you're gonna have to play it simple, where a good attacking midfielder doesn't like that. A good attacking midfielder likes to get out of tight spaces, the spaces that you're under a lot of pressure. So you get yourself to a space, you receive the ball comfortably, and you create the game. That's the key thing to become a successful attacking midfielder. Yes, you don't have to be very fast, but technically you have to be really good. You have to have great vision. You have to have great game reading ability, which is game IQ or vision, and seeing those gaps to send those through balls. If you have these, you might be a good attacking midfielder. And as a striker, you don't need to be very good technically. You need to be physical. You don't need to be fast. Depends on what kind of a striker you want to be, or what kind of a striker your height or weight allows you to be, because you can be a target striker or you can just be a central forward where you're making runs in behind. Depends. If you're a tall player, you can hold the ball, you can protect the ball, keep the ball, lay it off to your attacking midfielder. You're technically okay, defensively not very good, lay it off to your attacking midfielder and let them create the game, and you make your run inside. I think the most important thing to become a target striker, where you actually have to know when to make those runs, which I made a lot of videos about striker movement. Find the link right up here somewhere to watch that video and actually improve your striker movement, because that's very important to become a successful striker, where you're gonna have to lay it off and you're gonna have to make a run in behind. Diagonal runs, horizontal runs, whatever. You can't be stationary after you lay off the ball. So those are the key attributes to a successful target striker. If you wanna be one of the fast strikers, like Lautaro Martinez or Sergio Aguero type of strikers, you're just gonna have to be moving around. You're basically almost like a false nine, but you are more making your runs in behind the defenders, and you're using your speed at the same time your finishing abilities. So I hope this video was helpful to you for the upcoming season, and I hope it will help you pick a better position for yourself. Please drop a like, subscribe to my channel with the notifications on. You can also find my playlist right over here. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next time.